Hey guys, quick video here. The infamous Toyota 3-liter axle with the stuck carrier bearing. I'm going to run you through the process that I tried for days and days and failed. I'm a glutton for punishment. I like getting my ass kicked apparently. My recommendation is just take it to a shop. It's probably going to be expensive, but fighting this thing is unbelievably horrible. This is a 2004 Avalon, Colorado bought new and owned in Colorado ever since. Not a lot of rust here. This thing was seized in so bad, unbelievable. Even if I had gotten the motor mount out with the bearing in it, I don't think I would have got it out here. I would have had to have taken it to a shop with a very legit press. On that note, if you have this issue, I've seen two types of carriers. I'm not sure. One is like 1 inch wide and it has 2 bolts. Unbolt that thing and take it out and buy a new one. I mean, that's easy. That's a lot easier than what we're dealing with. My car has the carrier inside the motor mount, and it's a big, heavy piece of iron. In order to get that mount out, you'd have to, well, one of the bolts backs into the actual cup on the CV axle. And so you're going to have to cut the bolt to get that thing out. And it looked like a nightmare. Anyway, started out, hitting it. You see these YouTube videos, the guys just beating it out of there. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm extra lucky and just got the most stuck one that ever existed. Good luck. If that works for you, awesome. Give it a try. Don't waste too much time on it. If it's not moving, it's not going to move. You can spray all the penetrant you want on it. You can heat it. You can put dry ice on the bearing and heat it. It's not going to do anything. Trust me. If it's stuck in there as bad as mine was, you're in big trouble. Next step, we drilled a hole through the cup and ran a steel rod through it with some hooks, put the slide hammer on it. I was underneath the car prying with pickle forks and pry bars, and my uncle was up top with the slide hammer, and it didn't move at all. So I'm going to tell you how to get this thing out. If you're stubborn like me, you're not going to take it to a shop, and you're just going to fight it. You're in for a good time, let me tell you. But this is the trick. Okay, I did this over the week of 4th of July. I do not have a cutting torch. Anyone I knew who had a cutting torch was not available. So I got online and I bought this Yes Welder plasma cutter off Amazon, 179 bucks. Not the ideal tool, but it worked. So what you do, you pull the cup, or expose the cup. And what you're going to do is you're not going to get an angle grinder in here at this angle to cut this. So you're going to need to either torch would be ideal, or plasma cut this off. And yes, this is not pretty. I'm not proud of it, but it did the job. What you want to do is cut it back to where, you're able to get the angle grinder in at this angle. So once you have your cup cut, you're going to have just enough room to come in and cut this way. You can't get this from underneath. And keep in mind too that cutting the shaft on this side where the input shaft goes into the transmission doesn't gain you anything because it's seized here. And if you take your whole exhaust off and cut this, I still don't think you're going to hammer it out, even with a sledge. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just, once again, super unlucky. Once you cut this way, what you're doing is you're exposing that bearing in one spot. So here's my chunk. Once you cut that and expose the bearing, you've cut it this way, and now you've cut it this way. You're going to come in with a die grinder. You're going to take a plunge bit and you're going to go in, make a hole all the way through the bearing, and then you're going to take a big roundy one, and you're going to grind, and it's going to be a lot of grinding. You'll need a decent compressor. You'll also need a decent, so this has a 110 adapter, so you can run at 110, but if you only have a 20 amp breaker, it's just gonna trip and trip and trip. Ideally a 40 amp breaker, or you're running the 220 that it has available. This is the adapter. It did work. I threw a 30 amp breaker in mine and got through it. It just was a lot of fighting. Anyway, so you're going to start grinding the bearing, and you're gonna grind the outer race of the bearing in several spots, being careful not to hit the carrier. You don't want to damage the mount, the motor mount and the carrier, but you're going to get clear through in several spots. You're going to pry this, keep in mind, this is chrome moly. You're not going to drill through it with drill bits. It's going to take a die grinder. Then you're going to come up through the hole underneath the carrier and start smacking it with a decent punch. And you're going to break it, and you're going to try to pry the balls out. And so you can see where I ground into this ball with the die grinder. Chrome moly, hard shit. Good luck. But it worked. So you're going to grind in this way and then kind of grind the race, and then you're going to rotate the shaft and you're going to grind another spot. 2 or 3 spots. Pry the balls out. Beat it with the punch. Then you're going to take your pickle forks or pry bars or whatever, and you're going to pry against the carrier, between the cup and the carrier, and it will come out. My advice with the pickle forks and the pry bars, be careful, because you have a retainer clip in there and you can damage that area, the retainer clip, by prying on it too much. So just be mindful of that. You don't want to just pry. It's not going to work. I had the car, literally I had a jack under the car on one of these pickle forks, and it was lifting the whole car off the ground. It's going to require thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of force to get that thing out. Even if you took the motor mount out and went to a shop, they'd have to have a serious press to get that thing out. You're not going to beat it out of there. By the time you get the motor mount out, you might buy a new motor mount, honestly. And if you're lucky enough to have the little 2-bolt carrier, it's about 1 inch wide, just take it out and go get a new one. Don't waste your time. It's a complete nightmare. So anyway, heating, penetrating oil, cooling, slide hammer, prying, it's not going to work. If you're seized as I am, you're screwed. So the quickest way, cut the cup. You're going to have limited space. You can cut from underneath. Just be mindful of, if you got a greasy engine, don't be starting any fires, Do this safely. You're going to want eye protection. I was wearing my welding hood the whole time. Just, this thing can flash you too. I'm going to cut this way. Once this is out of the way and you got enough space, just barely, to get a 4-inch angle grinder in, and just, and then start grinding the bearing. Several spots, rotate it, pull the balls out, and it will come out then. So I'm just trying to save everyone some heartache and headaches. Nightmare job. Totally, I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess. Don't waste your time prying and beating and doing all this stupid stuff, buying a slide hammer. Don't waste your time. It's not going to do it. If it's stuck in there, it's stuck. And I'm telling you, it's as stuck as anything has ever been stuck. It's nasty. So my advice, take it to a shop, pay them the money, let them do it. If you're stubborn like me and you just like getting your head kicked, do it this way. Don't waste your time. If it doesn't come out with beating on it with a chisel on the backside of the cup, don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Don't heat it and cool it and do all this other stupid stuff. Cut it twice and get a die grinder and grind that bearing out. That's the only way you're going to get it out of there. And it will come out, and the car drives like a dream. We were getting the vibration at 30, 40 mile an hour. The car has 215,000 miles on it. It was time, but my goodness, I mean, the other axle took me 1 hour and 15 minutes. So, this one was days and days and days of constant headaches and nastiness. And I don't know, even if you had a lift, I don't think it would help you a whole lot in this circumstance. I mean, you'd have a better angle, but there's only so much you can do. If you end up buying this plasma cutter, be sure to buy some extra tips so that you'll burn through the tips on that thing. So 179, maybe 200 with the, well, let's see, the tips were $50. You know, you're looking at 230, but you're going to save all of the money and headaches on all this other stuff. Just buy the plasma or use ideally a cutting torch would be even better. Be safe. Fire extinguisher nearby. Cut it, grind it, and pull it out. That's the only way you're getting out of there. Unless you're lucky. Maybe you're lucky. And Colorado's not a state known for rust. We're really dry. We're arid. If you live out east and have this problem, I don't know, man. Drive it into a river and call it good or something. But yeah, good luck. I wish you guys the best with this. Just be smart. And if it's not coming out, trust me, you're not going to pry it out of there. You're not going to beat it out of there. You have to do it. You have to cut it. You got to cut it and grind it. So if you have any questions, please hit me up. Good luck to all of you. If you got a 3-liter Toyota, good luck. I wish you the best. Take care.